one of the areas, do I just need to hit a button?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks. I'm actually trainable to do that. Not a lot else, but that one I can handle. In terms of research, we're super research oriented, and I think as students you see that. If you're a graduate student, it's obvious. Hastings in the back, he's one of my students, and he had to come here today. And he's one of those people that's doing lots of great research as well. So we do a lot of research, not only at the graduate level, but at the undergraduate level too. And I think it's one of our strengths. And you can get involved in undergraduate research for credit, $26.99, $46.99. You can get involved in a VIP team, a vertically integrated projects team that's aerospace oriented. So there's a lot of opportunities to get involved in research in different ways. And again, we're very research oriented in terms of numbers. Around $40 million a year in research expenditures occur in the school. So that's a lot of research activity. In terms of publications and showing people our results, typically on any given year we publish around 120 articles to the community that get published in various journal venues. So we're really fully engaged in the aerospace community, and then the faculty that you interact with are exceptional. We're really fortunate to have professors from all over the world come here to Atlanta at Georgia Tech and be involved in teaching and research. 5 of our senior faculty are members of the National Academy. All of our senior faculty members are a technical fellow of one or more societies. And when you're a fellow, that means you get recognized as really the upper echelon in that society, producing new knowledge for the community. And then also, most of our faculty at the associate and full professor level are involved in all of the aerospace publications. So all the journals that you see in aerospace, there's generally a Georgia Tech professor that's a part of that journal as an associate editor or an editor-in-chief of that journal. So if you look at this all collectively, our school is fully immersed in the aerospace community, and we have a lot going on. I want to brag about you students. So, and I'm so impressed with all of your achievements. And I'm not going to read all of these off, but you can look at them. And these are all national level awards that are extremely competitive. And you all win them every year, and you win a lot of them. So it's just a great indication of what's going on here and the kind of things you all are doing individually and then also as a team. So most years we have a couple of our design teams that will win or place in national level competitions. So it's just incredible what you're accomplishing. And then also the same thing is true of our faculty. Every year, being recognized with incredible awards. This past year we had 2 of our alumni and 1 professor of practice inducted into the National Academy of Engineers, Nick Lapos and Sandy Magnus. So we're really proud of them, and it's a pretty steady stream of this kind of recognition. We've had professional society fellows every year. We have a couple of our faculty that are recognized. This past year was Eric Ferron and Sandy Magnus as AIAA fellows, and one of our research faculty, Olivia Fisher, was recognized as an AIAA associate fellow. So great recognition. And each year our faculty win national level awards. Tim Lewin this past year won 2 awards, one from ASME and one from AIAA. And again, I want to point out that these awards are extremely competitive and nationally and international type awards. And I want to point out Professor Smith in the front row was recognized with this year's upcoming Nikolsky Lectureship in Rotorcraft Technology. Extremely impressive award, well deserved. So I just think all of our faculty, just tremendous group of folks. And our junior faculty are coming along too with winning lots of awards. So you can read here some of our assistant and associate professors being recognized by different organizations inside and outside of Georgia Tech as well. So overall, where are we? What's the state of the school? Extremely promising and just doing really well. One of the things I'll point to in a little bit is I said we have 40 professors, and you probably 1,000 undergraduates, almost 700 graduate students. That's not a great student-faculty ratio. We know that. We know we need more professors in our school, and we are aggressively pursuing that. and you're going to see more faculty coming on campus, 2, 3, 4 faculty each year over the next several years to get our strength up to 50. But I'll just introduce some of them. So Jürgen Rauletter is a relatively new professor. He works in aerodynamics and vertical flight. Chris Carr is an assistant professor, works in astrobiology, really focused on the origins of life and different experiments to learn more about that. Another person in the space area, John Christian, works in a variety of space technology areas, a lot of navigation type work. Meyer Patil joined us as a professor of practice. His specialty is structures and structural dynamics and materials, a mechanics person. I mentioned Sandy Magnus. Also, she's a part-time professor of practice at Georgia Tech. She's split 3 ways, part-time in AE, part-time in material science and engineering, and part-time in international affairs. So she's really a great addition that adds a new dimension to our faculty. And I know a lot of students have been meeting with Sandy, get advice. She's a former astronaut, and I think that's really worked out well. Also, we're doing more and more collaboration with GTRI, and this gives students an ability to work on fundamental problems and also see them get transitioned with applied research with GTRI. We're also connecting more GTRI researchers with our faculty, and our first instance of that more recently is Mark Wharton. He's the CTO at GTRI, and he's also on our faculty. And he works in really national security as well as space technology. So it's a lot of exciting people coming that are on campus, and again, we'll have a couple editions this summer, and then also in January a few other folks coming on board as well. So look out for those new faculty members. They're going to want students to work with them in their research labs and might be interested in some of the work they're doing. There's also been an enormous number of changes to our staff, and we're adding staff because we have more students, we have more research that we're doing as well. So one of the things that we've done recently is we've changed our finance office to be a portfolio model so that each one of our research labs with a professor that's in charge of that lab, they'll have a specific individual in the finance office that will really kind of be a part of their lab that can help out with purchasing and hiring students and anything else associated with finance. So we believe this is a great model to form teams with all the business operations side and then connecting that with our research lab. So you can see lots of new faces in our staff, and I'm really excited about everything with our staff and how we're organized. So you can see some of the key points of contact that we're particularly oriented towards students. And if you have issues and you need help solving a problem, there's a staff member that can help you. And if you can't figure that out, you send me a note, and I'll help figure it out, and we'll help you get the help you need for different things you're trying to do. I also want to point out that we are really, really aggressively working on new facilities for the school. And one of the things that will happen in the next year, project will start, is we will build an aircraft hangar facility in the North Avenue Research Annex. You can see an artist rendition of what that building will look like. It's a 10,000 square foot building. It's going to house a lot of our aircraft fabrication work that we fabricate aircraft and then fly them, as well as it'll house all of our electric aviation work, a lot of battery research and electric power systems, et cetera. We'll do a lot of that research there. So if you're interested in that kind of work, there'll be new facilities built that you can be a part of and work in this lab. So really, really excited about that. Something that's longer term for us is we will be looking to create larger facilities for the school, and we will more than likely vacate this area over, say, the next 5 years and move to a new facility. So one of the things that's happening at Georgia Tech right now is we are starting to build up the southwest part of campus. If you look at that part of Atlanta and the city just south of our campus, we actually own a lot of that property. Georgia Tech over the years has purchased individual pieces, and we add it all up, it's almost 50 acres of property that Georgia Tech owns. So if you think about Georgia Tech build up the Midtown area, And so when I was a student, and I know there's a lot of other folks who were students here a long time ago, Professor Smith being one of them, Professor Sanker being another one. When I was a student, you didn't go across the highway, right? You were told you don't go across there. It can be a little dicey. All right, Georgia Tech made a huge investment about 15 years ago or more, and that changed all of Midtown Atlanta. And we invested, we put some academic buildings, the Georgia Tech Hotel, and some other things, and all of a sudden, just an enormous amount of private money came in. We've got a lot of headquarters and things like that to build out Midtown. We're going to do the same exact thing on the South by Southwest part of campus, but just supersized, right? 50 acres worth. So there's going to be hotels, there's going to be student housing, there's going to be new academic buildings. Over the next 10 to 15 years, you're going to see just a lot of growth in our facilities because we have more people, we have more research, we need these facilities. We are going to be a part of that South by Southwest expansion. And right now we're working on conceptual designs for a building. So this is probably something like what our building will look like in the next 5 or so years, a 7-story building, 225,000 square feet, which will greatly increase the space that this school has. So we're really driving hard towards this and working to get the investments and with Barra and getting lots of donations to help make this possible. Where will it be? So South by Southwest, this shows kind of shows the South by Southwest area right in here. So you're probably familiar with the Wells Fargo Bank, Human Resources, Salvation Army. All of this area is South by Southwest. This area here is the North Avenue Research Lab. We have a Combustion Lab here, Structures Lab. We have our Electric Propulsion Lab here, Aircraft Hangar Building. So what we want with our new facility, we want to connect with all this heavy industry, heavy labs that are associated with our school. So we're going to be somewhere here. I'm not sure yet. A lot of negotiation going. We're going to be somewhere South by Southwest. But what we are pushing is to connect ourselves to the lab. So that's the tactic. Probably we will be graduated by the time the building, we cut the ribbon on the building, but we are going to be asked on that.
It doesn't have a name yet.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I wanted to point to something else that we're doing. So we're really making a move in the school towards sharing our research spaces. And really the first installment of that is the makerspaces. So and you all take it for granted, right? You go to the makerspace. Hey, I want to print something out. I want to laser cut something. You just go and do it. If you rewind 10 years ago, that was not possible. If a professor wanted to do some fabrication, they bought every machine. They housed it in their lab. And you know what? They didn't share. So if you weren't in their lab, you couldn't use the machine. So what we've done is we recognized, and the 3D printers really are when the light bulb went off for. So we started seeing every professor with a 3D printer. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Let's join forces and have fewer of them, but nicer 3D printers, and we can all use it. And that's what started the makerspace. That was really one of our early shared lab spaces. We, for many years, had the Combustion Lab, and that was kind of a model of faculty sharing a large, really capable research space. We see this growing in the school. And one of the reasons for that is you go into a single professor and they have a research lab with research equipment, put a camera in that room, you would probably see that room used less than 10% of the time. Probably. It's not used all the time. So by sharing facilities, we get higher use rates. And the other thing we get is that we get better equipment because you're sharing it. It's more faculty that are using it. You can invest more in that equipment. And then you can also have better maintenance of the equipment and it's available. So by sharing these facilities, as long as we can share and play nice, we can have better facilities in these shared labs. So we're making a move towards that. Our indoor flight facility, which is this large motion capture lab, you can fly autonomously. That's a shared facility. We're now in the early stages, or maybe it's a little past early stages of renovating the Harper Tunnel. That'll be a shared facility as well.
Our
print, like for some reason. So I'm just
And that
gonna,
is a good chart too. I mean, if you look at
I'm
that
gonna
chart, that's
reset
that's got a couple
I'm
cool
gonna stop
pictures.
sharing and start sharing. Yeah. It's, okay.
Try to enhance one slide.
Yeah.
Don't read that
Make sure
slide.
it's not as big as the-
Yeah.
You're stealing my thunder. That's like my
Oh.
key chart right there.
Go back.
Gotcha.
Okay.
When the video is-
I was trying to share like the window, but for some reason I guess that wasn't. So is it?
Okay, if I go back one.
Yeah. Okay.
Go to
It's working. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully, I'd be good with that. So, there's lots of exciting things happening in the school. So one of the things I want to make a huge plug for is we're going to have Aerospace Day at the Ballpark. So April 22nd, Georgia Tech plays Duke. First pitch is 6:30. We're going to have a tailgate starting at 4, free food. So come by the stadium, get kind of dinner-ish. So lots of activities, and we want to make a huge splash with Aerospace and support our baseball team. So I'd encourage everybody to come out and see the game. And I am going to throw one of the first pitches, and I'm going to bring the heat. So please come April 22nd, Aerospace Day at the Ballpark. Other really exciting things that we have going on that we're really doing to help connect you with opportunities is we're establishing a corporate affiliates program where companies will join our affiliates program, and that'll help them make their opportunities, you aware of their opportunities. So lots of interest from companies, and we're just trying to figure out the right pricing, et cetera, for that corporate affiliates program. But I think that'll be a really good way for those interested in industry to connect with different companies. Another thing I want to plug is the Mentor in Residence program. How many students have taken advantage of that? All right, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. So you all years back commented to us and said, hey, the advising program needs some help, needs some work. So what we did was we did a couple things. One, we improved our advising by hiring professional advisors. These are full-time staff that know our program really well. When you have a question or problem, they can help you directly, really efficiently. Other thing we did was we said we need to provide a way to connect you all with mentors and people you can bounce questions off of. And we set out to create a diverse group of mentors at different points in their career, different parts of the aerospace community, and some that have graduated from Georgia Tech and done something totally different. Because there's a lot of you will go into the aerospace community and stay there your whole career. There's a lot that'll go through something else. Our career paths are, nonlinear. So we have some of those folks that you can be mentored by as well. So it's a mentor residence program, 30-minute blocks. You sign up with the mentor, talk about anything, and hopefully that helps. So I'd encourage you to use that resource. The people that are mentors are really, really impressive. And they signed up not because they wanted to interact with faculty, they want to talk to you all. So I'd encourage you to do that. We do have a new council for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And the first year of that council, what we asked the council to do, we have like 20 members, so it's very active, to evaluate us across the board as a school and do a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis. And then let's figure out what we need to improve. So we're at the stage now where we're starting to create a list or categories of things we want to implement and improve. But it's a really, really important part of our school. We've done things over the past 2 years where we've changed the way we search for faculty, so we're more inclusive of a wider group of faculty, so we can diversify our faculty. And we've done a whole group of other things as well, and it's something that's really, really important to us to continue. We're also trying to innovate our curriculum, and we received a large grant from the Kern Family Foundation. Kern Family are the folks that created the company Generac, and they make generators, and they made, I think, a boatload of money, and they created a foundation, and they support educational initiatives, and they gave Georgia Tech a large grant, and we're working on several things to implement into the curriculum, things to help you communicate better, tell your story, and that kind of thing. Also, do-it-yourself kits. So a lot of our experiments, you go into a room, there's 8 of you, and you're all crammed in this room, and you're trying to do an experiment and learn something. We're going to still do some of that, but we're also going to have kits where you have your kit, you can do the experiment yourself. You build the experiment, you do the experiment. So we're working on that as well as. And the other thing we're trying to do is actually connect with you all. We want to get to know you better, and everything being virtual, everything on the computer. There's been that trend for whatever the last 25, 30 years. Well, it's started to create a situation where we don't interact enough personally, one-on-one and in small groups. So one of the things we're going to try to do is create an environment where we can interact more with you all, because we want to get to know you better. We want to work with you all, and sometimes that takes a dedicated, specific effort, and we're doing that as well. What else? So I wanted to mention our vision framework for the school, and really our two overarching elements of our vision and our values. One is we want to be setting the standard in aerospace internationally for both education and research. And everything you saw is things we're doing. I think we're in great shape, and we continue to work hard on that. And the second part is we want our environment, students, faculty, and staff, to be in a super professional environment where everybody is respected. It's a fair environment where you feel safe. It's diverse. It's inclusive. And it's just a great place for you to come and be a student and learn, for you to come and be a staff member with your job, or to be a professor. Because that's what we're shooting for, is that kind of an environment. And as we roll out programs and we do things, we're always kind of focused on are we being true to our values in the school. And around education, one of the things that surprised me when I became school chair was how much you all as students learn outside of class. So my going in position was that students learn everything in class. And in fact, you learn the most in my class. That was kind of the most important class, right? That was my perspective. I'm just being honest, right? So I become school chair, and I learn, talk to you all, and I find out you learn so much in Design, Build, and Fly. You learn a ton in Yellow Jacket Space Program, or the Flying Club, or tutoring, all these other activities, undergraduate research. And some students will say that's their most important activity. Okay. So what we're trying to do is connect all that and be supportive of all the student groups and all the great things you're doing on teams and individual research. And then where we can, connect that with our traditionally super strong coursework as well. So it's definitely on our mind, and as we move forward, we're always trying to think about that and how can we do that better. All right, so I'm going to move over to the point of what I've heard you all say and what we're kind of doing about it in the program. So over the past few years, we've had office hours with the chair, and I really appreciate when people come to those office hours, done it virtually and in person, and provided great feedback. Things are going well, areas where we need to improve. I'd really, really, really encourage you to to attend those and just chat, have a discussion. It's really helpful to the school. I mentioned the advising. One of the things we heard a few years ago was advising needs to be approved. I mentioned that already. We've done that. Another thing that came up a few years ago is, hey, you all don't communicate with us in an efficient way. I get 1 million emails, and I've gotten to the point where I put AE on a filter to delete everything, right? So, we tried to figure out what's a good way to communicate, and one of the things we've done is create and amplify the aerial view. So we have one place, it's a weekly newsletter where we try to have everything you might want to know about aerospace in there, to include things like news, things that are going to happen far out, like a save the date, the mentor in residence, open slots, competitions, defenses, visitors that are giving talks, etc. So I'd encourage you to open that weekly, take a look through. There's an enormous number of jobs that we post there. So all of us faculty, we get companies that'll send us a note. Hey, I need somebody in rotor aerodynamics, or I'm looking for someone in propulsion, or we have a general need for aerospace engineers. Every time I get one of those, I forward it to Kelsey Gullidge, and she puts it in the aerial view. So we're trying to get everything in there for you, and not just opportunities for U.S. citizens, but just also international students as well. And I wanted to mention that that one of the things we're doing over this next year and beyond is trying to create an international student network, so that as you're graduating and you're an international student, you understand the opportunities that you do have. And we have lots and lots and lots of our graduates that are international students that have gone on and had unbelievably successful careers. And we need to connect you with those folks so they can help you with making connections and all that. That's something we're doing over this next year, and we'll start rolling that out as well. So that's one of the things that's really top of mind for us, is to help our international students connect you with opportunities. Other things over the past 2 years that you mentioned. Can't get into a course I need to graduate. Like Professor Ruffin, who's sitting right here, he took that on. We've added 10 sections each year so that we don't have these bottleneck courses. So I think we're doing much, much better in that than we have. When I first became school chair, I had students say, I had to spend an extra year at Georgia Tech because I literally couldn't register for these courses. They ran out of slots and I couldn't register for 8 courses. So we've done that. We're doing data analysis to understand where those bottlenecks are and to free those up. You also mentioned the AE options courses. You didn't really have a lot of good options. So you would have a course you needed to take, and you really needed a course that was offered at these specific times, and there was only one of them, and you had to take a course you weren't really interested in. It was a quote AE options course. So we've expanded that significantly. So hopefully when you take your options course, if it's something you're really excited about, that was our intent when we made the curricular change. We wanted to give you flexibility, so towards the tail end of your program, you're taking these options and you're unbelievably excited to go into those courses. So that's what we're trying to do there as well. And the last thing I'll mention is that you all have been saying to us for a while is student groups don't have their meetings. And I know Tana's going to tell me that again because it's still a problem. We know that, and we're trying. So we've been providing funds for student groups. So when you need funds, if you ask the school, we are actually doing pretty good on that. What we're not doing good on is space. So a lot of the teams that are building things and testing things, you're asking for more space. We have been carving out space for student groups in the narrow area. And certainly as we go into new facilities, one of the features of our new facility will be we're flipping it around. It'll be very much student-centered. So we'll be focusing on and highlighting the student activity in our new facilities. But right now we're making room in narrow and trying to free up as much space as we absolutely can. So now I want to move on. These are new things that we've learned about. I kind of sent this a little while back, and I'm going to confess that we haven't made much progress because we just kind of got the information. So these are things we're going to work on. And there was a mention that some classes meet 2 times a week for 2 hours, and it's really, really hard to concentrate for 2 hours. It's a good point, and the suggestion was how can we implement a couple breaks in those classes so that you can kind of recharge and be more ready for the material. So it's a good comment. I don't know what we're going to do on that yet, but I appreciate the comment. Another comment that's come up is that recitations are really the most valuable part of a lot of courses, and we minimize that to some extent. And how can we change that? Well, one of the things we have done, we've instituted an undergraduate teaching assistance program, and where we can get undergrads that can provide some help, and we think that's helping. We've also had a healthy number of graduate teaching assistants in our program that can also help with that as well with recitations. Comment is some classes have too much material versus the credit hours, so a little bit unbalanced, and there's a couple courses that are particularly unbalanced, is what you all are saying. So we'll be looking at that as well. And then another thing that kind of surprised me, but it shouldn't have, is that you all want to be involved in these discussions. Really? So that's a great thing, and we need to get you all involved in some of these committees. So we'll take that on as a to-do and be inviting different students to participate and get your voice heard as we're thinking about making changes. Another thing that's been mentioned is Buzzcard Access, particularly for first years and transfer students. You spend a while before you're able to get access to Montgomery Knight 24/7. So that's just I think that's a detail. It's a system fix that we need to figure out. So I'll work with Vicki Bryan on that to see how we can make that work better. And then I think the last thing I'm going to mention is there have been comments that a lot of courses will spend a lot of time reviewing material from previous courses, and there's not enough time for the new material. So just, again, working closely with, our undergraduate curriculum to understand that a little better. I don't have a good answer for that one quite yet, but it's something I appreciate the comment, and we'll think about that. So I'll quickly look into the future. Just to wrap up, there's unbelievable technology in aerospace that's going to be infused into systems. If you look at computing or new materials, autonomy, et cetera, super exciting. We're seeing all those new technologies create new capabilities for existing platforms, whether it's a helicopter, or a jetliner, et cetera. So that's really fun to be involved in. But what's even more fun is what we think about what's really going to happen out a little further in the future. I mean, you all are going to see people living, working, and playing on the moon. And it's great for me to say that. It's a little crazy, but it's happening. We're in the beginning of that. So it's really exciting to be a part of building out that technology and Georgia Tech contributing to that, of the human race being a multi-planet species. Another thing, coming closer to home, we're seeing the emergence of megacities. And along with megacities, if you try to do everything, all transportation on the ground, it's just not working. So what we're seeing is the development of aircraft that are going to live in a city. They're designed to stay in a city. An aircraft that's designed to go to Midtown to Sandy Springs, short-haul aircraft that they're not going to land in traditional airports. They're going to have to live and operate within a city. How do we figure all that out from the platform side to the infrastructure, autonomy, and all that? We have to figure it out, but that's going to be part of our future. So that's really exciting as well. And then we're back in hypersonics again. So extremely rapid, high-speed aircraft, high-speed air vehicles, both from the military and civilian perspective. There's a lot of fundamental work and better understanding that's needed, as well as practical implementation. So that's another area of emphasis for us. And then I'll just finish and close with, aerospace is fundamentally, changing society and changing our lives. And there's a lot happening for a really bright future in aerospace. And our school is an integral part of that. So that's all I wanted to say. I definitely wanted to leave time for discussion and questions, but thanks for listening.